extension of my podcast answers, where sometimes people ask me questions, they'll email me questions that are less personal and more theoretical. And it feels weird answering those on the podcast. So I basically just answer them while I do my dishes. People will often ask, why do you have so many dishes? Is there another person living with you? Are you indentured to someone? And I say, no, I eat a lot of food at home. It's embarrassing. Do I wish I was at Nobu every single day? Yes. Do I wish when they opened Nobu I was waiting outside, hoping to get in? They go, we don't serve breakfast. I go, you do now. I wish that was the case, but no, I eat a lot of horrible, depressing, small meals here at home. The question I got was, somebody basically told me they were at like a party or a club or something, and an R. Kelly song came on, and they felt conflicted because they liked the song and they danced to the music, but in the back of their head they were like, well, should I support this? Should I not support this? It's not that you're supporting it by dancing to the music. There's only so much you can do in terms of separating the art from the artist, but the fact that you felt apprehension at the song kind of gives you the answer to that. If your own, I think some people can do it better than others. Some people can be like, I don't agree with the horrific actions this artist is accused of. However, their music is of good quality. But I actually don't want to talk about that. It sparked a actually interesting thing in my thought process that I do want to talk about for the duration of this dish thing, and then I'll answer some of your questions. Disingenuous support. Okay? I am a stand-up comedian. This hopefully will get funny eventually. What I've noticed from a lot of people is now, because everything's so politically divided, they will pretend to support an artist not based on the output of that person. This could be music, this could be interpretive dancing, this could be competitive juggling. It doesn't matter. But if there's like a competitive juggler who you're like a libertarian, and there's like a heavily libertarian competitive juggler, there's a competitive juggler who goes, I stitch my own juggling balls. Okay? I don't do import export. All right? All my juggling balls are made in America by a ununionized factory. If that juggler got popular, there's going to be a number of people who don't care about juggling, who don't like juggling, who see juggling as sort of a child's party trick, which, let me be clear, I do not. If members of the juggling community come after me for my opinions, just know I'm in full support of you. You don't get the respect you deserve, okay? It is not inane what you do. Sometimes there's many objects and they need to be hoisted from hand to hand to transport it. That is a vital service, okay? You are a essential worker, jugglers. Just know that. There are people who, if they just agree with the political aspirations of a juggler or XYZ, they will support them regardless of what they're putting out. And I think that is something that a lot of people are becoming keen to on both sides, and are kind of, on the left, there's like a number of artists who, perhaps don't have the best musical output, but because people agree with them politically, they go like, oh no, I actually love this music. This is great. And, on the right, there's been a number of that too. Less mainstream artists, but also, like, for instance, the My Pillow guy. I don't think many people were hyped on the My Pillow product, specifically. They were hyped on the guy. And yet, they flew off the shelves. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. I'm not saying this is good or bad. I've definitely been victim to this myself. There's been people, specifically in stand-up comedy, that I've enjoyed because they were nice to me, or maybe they gave me good advice, and I go, oh yeah, they're so funny. And you know when that breaks, when that kind of spell of disingenuous support breaks, when you let a friend in on it and they're seeing it with fresh eyes, which causes you to see it with fresh eyes, and you go, "Oh, yeah, that is a 20-minute joke about the presidency of Bill Clinton." You know what I mean? That is a 28-year-old joke that he's telling right now in front of people, and it sort of breaks the thing. And I think because there's a big complaint that art these days is of lower quality. I don't necessarily agree with that. I do understand that there's a higher output of dog shit for sure, 100%. I think that a big way to get rid of that is for both sides of people. It's to admit and try to make sure that they don't have a high number of artists that they disingenuously support. Now, is that even a word that I'm saying? Disingenuous, I think, is a word. And then can you just put "ly" at the end of any word? Are words sort of, can you just put "ly" at the end and it's a different, I hope so. But I think like understanding, and when you're a kid, I think you do it even more. But as an adult, it's the same thing as supporting artist because you like the way they dress, so you say their music is good. It's the same thing as supporting a dishwashing struggling comedian because you like how they put their hair in the worst style possible at all times. So you say they're funny even when they're not, even when they are clearly not. I think that when it comes to assessing our palette of media intake, it really helps us out. Because I think it frees you up. I think that people... I don't like how people say, "Oh, people are too political now." I think it's good to be politically knowledgeable and active and all that stuff. But I think that we are too political in that we allow political affiliation and ideology to creep into our basic enjoying of things. Where I understand not enjoying things because the creator of the artist is so egregiously bad. There certainly have been artists like that in the past, right? For instance, and I just name an artist that has never been accused of anything bad and is just kind of like a normal person. If the people have done something egregiously bad, like, Harry Styles is alleged to have... No, I'm kidding. But there certainly have been artists where you look at them and you go, "I will not support..." I can't listen to this music without thinking of the horrible things this person has done. But I don't think you need to completely agree with everything an artist thinks and believes to enjoy their... I'm a fan of a number of country musicians where I do not know or care to know who they vote for. I don't give a shit. I like the music. It's pretty easy to just like the music. Now, if those were people who were out there harassing people or burning down Lululemons, which is an act of right-wing political aggression, which I don't wholly not support. No, Lululemon, it's a great store, okay? I would hope none of the employees are in there when that happens. But yeah, I just feel as though people have gone too far in thinking of art in this way. It's it hurts my feelings. It hurts my feelings because you close yourself off to a huge number of people that could greatly positively influence you, whether you're creating, art or music or whatever, or not. I think that it really does shut your mind off. If you're living in Los Angeles, you won't listen to Billy Scraggs and the Catfish, that beautiful band, Billy Scraggs and the Cat. We all know about Billy Scraggs and the Catfish, the famous band that brought you She's My Widow Now. That would be an awesome... I'm making that completely up, but now that I say that, that would be an awesome song. If an artist wants to write a song called She's My Widow Now, Because it doesn't really make sense. It would have to be written by the perspective of a dead man. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. It just got me to thinking of it. I mean, I think people talk ad nauseum about like separate the art from the artist and don't separate the art from the artist and like you can da 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 da. And it's like what we're arguing on a political stage. What is just like a personal opinion because every artist is like a human being and has done bad shit. So it's just like it's a spectrum of what bad shit that person can do that you're comfortable still listening to their music. Whether you're aware of it or not. It's like, I mean, that's just how the world works. So it is very interesting. Anyway, I hope that wasn't the most boring thing everyone has ever heard in their entire lives. I hope that wasn't the most boring, diatribe. And it's in the middle, but that's what you get here. I'm about to head to Buffalo Wild Wings to watch football. And here's the beautiful thing about Buffalo Wild Wings. It's one of the only still functioning institutions in this country, okay? You walk into a Buffalo Wild Wings, things have not changed there one bit. There's no up or down. It does not sway in any form of economic stand. If whether the economy is good or bad, Buffalo Wild Wings is open. They're thriving. It's completely swing proof. And Buffalo Wild Wings is just one of those places where you walk in and you go, yep, this smells like piss. Yep, this whole place smells like piss. And it's okay with you because the beer is cheap and football is on the TV, which I don't truly care for all that much, to be honest with you. But my friends are there. And it's time that I think we address the fact that it's okay to do things you hate sometimes. Whether it be looking up from your phone for even a second or watching football, even though you're not too accustomed to it. You don't really understand it. You honestly think a lot of it is kind of stupid, which it is. But my friends like it, and that's all that matters. You don't want to go too far with that. You don't want to join a bocce ball league when you actually have a deep-grained fear of spherical objects ever since you were a baby, and your older brother came into your room and bounced a lacrosse ball off the soft spot of your head every day for the first 9 months. Okay? Playing bocce ball would probably bring up traumatic memories, and you don't want that, and I don't want that. Yeah, I only watch football. Honestly, my favorite parts of football are the military displays of force, right? I love that. I love when they basically parade out every single branch of the military because that is somehow incredibly relevant when you're about to kick a ball off of a tee. You need every branch of the military there because it's important that people make informed decisions about joining the military. So the best way to do that is to display and put commercials up for it in the middle of one of the most watched games ever where many of the viewers are under the age of 18. I think it's just important that we have informed adults making decisions about joining the military well before their 18th birthday. Yeah, I want a B-52 bomber. You know what? I think, here's what I think. I don't think the displays of military force at football games are enough. That's my opinion. Here's what they should do. This is my perfect Super Bowl, okay? The national anthem is played by a Marine shooting a glockenspiel from 500 yards away and hitting every note of the national anthem. Bing, 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 bah, 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 just hits completely. The game doesn't start after the national anthem, okay? We're not cowards. We fly, I'm going to say 70 B-52 bombers past the stadium, right? It goes past every single one of those B-52 bombers will drop I would say maybe a quarter of their explosives just at sea, right? So no person gets hurt, but you kill a lot of fish. Okay, so it just pop, 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 pop. And then as a demonstration, you have Green Berets in the audience, like, but they're dressed as normal people. As a demonstration of force and virility and viability, every single one of those Green Berets subdues the male member of each family in the audience. So, like, everybody's watching the B-52 bombers, that's great. And then you get garroted and, like, dragged back into the stand, and you wake up in a government questioning facility. And that's the halftime show. The halftime show, ooh, this is actually really good. The halftime show is those Green Berets using enhanced interrogation on the fathers of the families they got. That's the halftime show. Is they get any information they want out of those fathers. Do you actually like your family? Oh, that would be so fun. And listen, Beyonce's still there. Okay? You think Beyonce's not still there? Beyonce's still there. Beyonce's still singing. She's singing over the gentle sound of water over a cloth over a very scared person's mouth. And she hits every note, okay? She's crushing it. That's the Super Bowl I want. The game is played, and every player gets like a tactical knife. Oh no! One player on each team gets a tactical knife, and you don't know who it is, and you need to figure it out before the game is over. Whoever loses the most team members loses. And you don't call it the Super Bowl anymore. You call it the Super Military Bowl Extravaganza. You think this is a wild idea? You think the things that I'm saying are like abstract? Just wait. Somebody in the government is going to take that idea, and they probably won't do it, but they're definitely going to be like, "Hey, this guy on YouTube with 7 followers, he had some ideas about the Super Bowl. I think maybe we should think about them. We should consider them." And they'll get shot down, probably because they just don't have the funding. They're putting too much funding in bringing freedom to countries with resources. Ugh. Ooh, that was stinky. Yeah, sometimes you get dishwashing smells while you're dishwashing. But hey, that's why we do it. You gotta shake the tree sometimes. That's what I feel when I wash my apartment one time every 2 weeks. I feel like I'm just shaking the tree. I feel like I'm loosening the soil. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I'm looking under the rocks to see what bugs have crawled there. But yeah, I'm headed to Buffalo Wild Wings. Beautiful, beautiful Buffalo Wild Wings. Where I would say 10% of women are there. It's the 10% of the people there are women, and 90% of those women are not there by choice. Beautiful Buffalo Wild Wings. And I'm not saying they were kidnapped. I'm just saying if they had the opportunity to be somewhere else, they would be. Okay? Sorry, I'm looking for a sponge, but I don't want to leave you folks, so I'll try to make do with something that's around here. But yeah, the connection to football is a difficult one, right? I think America's connection to football, it's the most American sport of all time, because especially now, I think it reflects society in such a great way, right? Because it's something that we openly know is bad and damaging. And yet, and me included, this is not me shitting on anyone for enjoying football or whatever. It's something we know scientifically, factually, is incredibly flawed and damaged and like corrupt. And yet we show up anyway. Not due to any deep inherent joy, but because we feel obligated. And that's very interesting. I feel as though it's the perfect analogy for being in America right now. And I'm half joking, half of it's a joke, but not all of it. I'll tell you that much. Not 100%. So I'm wrapping up here. If anyone has any last questions, comments, please throw them in. I would love to answer anything strange. I feel like the runtime between 20 and 30 minutes is good for these. But yeah, if you want to continue to help and support, you can check out my other podcast, Basket of Cats. It's in like the bio of my Instagram, or you can just type in Basket of Cats podcast. And hey, just watch these. Or don't do anything. Here's the issue with calls to action. And you sort of have to do it, right? Because otherwise, you won't be able to get stage time. You have to have a severe online presence nowadays to get stage time as a stand-up comedian. It's not something I'm complaining about. In fact, it's worked out too well for me. Too well, I say, because I don't think this number of people is kind of insane for me, right? Even the 4 or 5 people watching now is pretty insane to me. But yeah, it's an unfortunate reality that you need to, garner some sort of a following to get the adequate amount of stage time as a comedian to become better at stand-up comedy, which I love. I did a show yesterday. It was kind of a hard show, and I still loved it because there was still work there. It felt like work. But the only reason I got that is because of the following. So I have to, at the end of like videos and stuff, ask people to follow my other stuff or to, come see a show sometimes. Come see a show sometimes, I have no problem. I hope everybody who follows me eventually comes to see a show, just because that's what I'm really, really interested. I don't dislike doing these at all. I enjoy it very much. But I love stand-up. Did I bomb? I am critical with myself, and I do bomb. Thank you, Leroy. I do bomb very often. This was not an outright bomb. I feel as though a bomb is specifically doing poorly when the audience wasn't bad enough for you to do that poorly. That's specifically how I see a bomb. Just because if you have like, people will say, "Oh, I bombed," and there were like 2 people in the audience, and it's like, well, you're not gonna. How are you gonna do great there? I mean, you can. Not to say you can't, but it's just a difficult circumstance, so I don't really count that. This was not a bomb. This was just a bunch of people that were sort of. I don't know what happened before me in the show. I showed up right before my set, but sometimes you get on stage and you look at an audience, and you're like, you might have been through some stuff. I don't know which comic on the lineup did that, but someone needs to talk to someone on this lineup because you guys are far too tight to be acting like this. No, last night was just a sort of quieter, more meek group of people. And that happens sometimes. There's nothing wrong with that. But that's why getting stage time is so important, because I might experience that again. And maybe I'll be able to handle it a little bit better. That's all you're doing. You're throwing experiences at yourself and you're going, well, it might suck doing it this time, but next time might be a little bit better. I say that in a roundabout way to say this. If you guys subscribe, it's very helpful to the YouTube. If you watch the podcast, it's very helpful. But what's really important and what's really cool is that, I have other stuff that I'm doing. A lot of people don't have anything else that they're doing. A lot of people live lives of quiet desperation, which is something that really annoying kids would say in high school. Do you have those kids in high school when you were younger, and they knew too many advanced quotes for their age, or maybe they heard them in music or whatever, but like they would be like, religion is the opium of the masses, and it's like, you're 13. Stop it. I wish someone did that to them. I wish someone was like, hey, you're not wrong, but you're 13. You can't be saying religion is the opium of the masses yet. You need to learn the Pythagorean theorem first. But no one tells these kids. I was kind of one of those kids. I listened to The Daily Show way too young. My parents should not have let me, and I mean that. I mean, watching Jon Stewart probably got me into comedy, but I would like go to school and be like, yeah, George Bush, and it's like I was 12. I was 12, and I was like, dude, Bush. I wasn't wrong. about the Bush administration, but I should have been trying to get good at sports. I should have been trying to buy cigarettes off of people outside of liquor stores. I should have been uh, going to the woods because my friend told me he saw a dead body there. And then looking around and realizing there was nothing there, and my friend had an evil look in his eye and thought, oh no, I'm the next victim. If only I was more sensitive to the ebbs and flows of life. But I wasn't. I was walking through the hallway having political. I swear to God, I would have political arguments with like other 12-year-olds because their parents watched Fox and I watched The Daily Show. Because neither of us obviously knew a single thing. Neither of us knew anything. But I would be like, George Bush is bad. And they were like, no, he's sick. And then I would be like, shut up. And then we'd run out of facts because we're 12. Our brains can hold like 3 things, and those are all just the names of Pokemon. We just filled those 3 slots with all the names of Pokemon. So it would be like George Bush sucks, and then it's like no he doesn't, and then you just fight the kid over politics at 12 years old. And again, I don't like it when people say blanket, like wholesale, everybody's too political these days. That's usually what people say when someone disagrees with them. They go, oh, it's all so political. And it's like, well, you're being political too. But as far as a 12-year-old being obsessed with The Daily Show, maybe that is too much. That's all I'm saying. Maybe that's a little bit over politicized for a child. No, I don't. Gyarados. Gyarados is the only Pokemon I really know. Everybody was getting into the Pokemon, and there were like 600 or something like that. I completely made that number up. It could be, it could be 12,000. It could be 6. I don't know. So I decided, while everybody was trying to broaden, I would narrow. I would pick one Pokemon to obsess over, and that was Gyarados. It was a big fish. They got real lazy with some of them. Some of the Pokemon were like, this is a crazy conceptual floating magnet monster. And then some of them, they were like, this is a fish. It's a fish. Big fish, but a fish. Looks good. Good looking fish, but it's a fish. Not to insult the good creators of Pokemon. Those were hardworking people. Those are strong people. Those are strong, hardworking Americans. Someone who just contributes everything to Americans. It's like, yeah, Pokemon, man. God bless those hardworking Americans that came up with Pokemon. And Naruto. You know what? Those strong men and women going into the factories of Wyoming, going into the textile mills of Alabama, creating those strong, strong children in Naruto. I look back on this country and I think, look at the legacy we've left behind. And what are we creating now? We used to be the country that created Attack on Titan. We used to be the country that created Death Note. And now what do? We make TikToks. We do YouTube Lives where a man at his sink waxes poetic about absolutely nothing for 30 minutes. Where does that bring us? Where does that bring us? If Naruto was made in America, that would be kind of funny. That's the thought I'm going to leave you guys on. I feel like I've run out of steam, and sometimes that happens. And when you feel it, you just gotta coast away. Like I said, if you want, you can subscribe to this or listen to the podcast Basket of Cats or listen to the podcast Dancers. That's basically the podcast that this is an extension of. Or you cannot do any of those things. But if you don't do any of those things, that's fine. I beg you, go outside. You don't have to do anything I said. But if you don't, go outside. Look at a squirrel. Have the squirrel look at you. Be like, what the fuck is this squirrel? Why are you looking at me? That's what I want from you. All right.